Chapter 22. The Law as Death. For the godly, God's law is liberty. It protects man from the lawless actions of thieves and murderers. For example, if however a man be a criminal, the law is at the least a restriction on his freedom, and it is potentially his death. What we think of God's law tells us what we are. For example, Leviticus 20:10 requires death for adultery, the death of both the adulterer and the adulteress. Leviticus 20:13 requires death for homosexual acts. Over the years, many have demanded, "Do you believe in that?" Well, God said it, and I accept it as his requirement of a good society. All too many people, unbelievers and churchmen alike, seethe with hostility against God for so ruling and against me for so believing in God's law. Why? Do they want these and like sins to be an option for them if they so choose? Do they want all immoral and moral lifestyles to be equally valid? Or do they only want God as a spectator and inspirer, but never as lawmaker and judge? Law is liberty to the godly. It protects them from evildoers, from criminals. Their lives and possessions are secure where God's law is honoured, jeopardized where God's law is despised. For the ungodly, God's law is a sentence of death in time and in eternity. Separation from God and from his law, which is the expression of his nature, is death. All through Scripture, God's nature is described as altogether righteous, meaning altogether justice. The law of God sets forth his justice or righteousness. It is only natural for the ungodly to hate God's law. Whatever their profession, they see God's law as a death sentence against them. How we think of God's law tells us how we think of God. If we go through the Bible to eliminate or reinterpret those aspects of God displeasing to us, we have eliminated the living God to create a false God, an idol out of some of God's words and attributes. Idolatry does not necessarily require materials to create a false image. We can create idols with our ideas or with selected texts from the Bible. For us, the law of God can be liberty or it can be death.